Hey everyone, today I have Matt Haywood from Lance IT with me, and he's being very generous with his time. He's very sick at the moment, but he's still happy to come through on this interview and share a bit more about his experience working together, his results, and hopefully give you some value as well. So thanks so much for joining us, Matt.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your time. I am a little bit sick, so I do sound like the Godfather, but that makes me sound even more cooler. But hey, happy to have it help. No problems.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Well, let's start by, first of all, sharing a little bit more about you, your business, and of course, yeah, who you serve and who you help.
So I run a company called Lance IT. We're based in Brisbane, Fortitude Valley, or Bris Vegas, as the kids call it. And we've been operating since December 3rd, 2018. And I guess the industry term is called managed services. And we're an IT company that handles the day-to-day operations of IT. You know, when something blows up or goes wrong, they call the help desk and we get on and fix problems. That's very much us. And our target market at the moment is, anywhere between, I guess, 1 to 50 employees. And it's great because we're building now, getting more staff on board. So we're starting to chase that bigger fish. So things are going well.
All right, awesome. And when did we first start working together?
I think we started working pretty much, I reckon, after maybe at a maximum 6 months before or when the company started. So something rings a bell around June last year or so. But certainly in the first year of operation is when you and I remember we kind of engaged.
Yeah, way back when I first started, and I remember you were running the lead generation strategy with some of the earlier strategies, the more manual approach. So it's going to be interesting to talk a little bit more about how even then, even with the higher time input, it was still really effective for you.
I'm looking forward to I'm a little bit nervous as well. I'm looking forward to your questions because I know you're very efficient with your systems. And when I look back to how I was, a part of me kind of cringes and we'll talk about that and I'll look away when you shudder and shake as a result of how poor my systems and time management were.
Yeah, well, this probably segues into the next question quite nicely. So what was your situation before we started working together?
First starting an IT company, right? Especially when you first start a business, right? Everyone wants clients, and I suppose that journey never changes throughout the lifetime of a business. But especially when you're first starting, right? Getting cash in the door is critical because you don't have a lot of money. You don't have a lot of money to spend on anything, I guess. So your investment of capital is really important. And there are a lot of sharks in the market. A lot of people will take your money and promise the world and fail to deliver. And the biggest thing I had was, I want to get more clients and I want to get more business, but that's kind of an abstract term, right? I want to get more clients. Well, okay, what does that mean? What do I need to do to get more clients? Like, what is the process from A to B? And being an IT guy, I'm very logical, I'm very step by step. So for me, I just need like a checklist. Like, what do I need to do to go from A to B to C to D, which is the end result of, cash in my account because I paid for a service. And I just struggled with that concept of like, how does it work? From if I bake a cake, what's the recipes and what's the steps involved in that, right?
Yeah. I remember you were actually running one strategy when we first met with an organization. We don't have to mention the name, but I remember it was you were doing a lot about what they were telling you to do, but it was this really roundabout way. It wasn't really promoting you and your services. And so it was really interesting to see the change that you had just by being a little bit more focused on promoting your own business and being a little bit more forward and saying, look, this is the value that I add. And would you like to work with me? So, yeah.
It's really funny because I had this spreadsheet. Hey, so I've always been a high energy kind of guy. Like I'm a sales guy. I love sales. I love talking to people. So things like cold calling and stuff for me wasn't hard. And in fact, I really enjoy it. But my process was I'd get a spreadsheet and have these columns of like name, person, contact details, and a lot of people still do this. Still, they've got a spreadsheet and they'll cold call, get the details, and flick them an email. But there was no focus in that. There was no kind of like, process to it in terms of, okay, if I send them a brochure at this point and I follow them up in 3 days time, and this is all very manual, right? So in IT, something would like break down. I'd have to go to site and do something. And all of a sudden I'd forget I was supposed to send 20 emails because I promised them last week. And, when you have that reliance on a person that could be automated and should be automated, you create inconsistencies. And when you create inconsistencies, you create a business that doesn't come across as reliable even. And that's so important in today's world. You want to be trustworthy, you want to be reliable. So yeah, it was, looking back at the time, I was like, this is awesome. I'm doing the right thing. And then you realize how, through your help, you realize just how much of a schmozzle it was in hindsight, which is always 2020.
Yeah. All right. Well, what would you say, probably that leads into the next question quite nicely. So what would you say in our work together added the most value to you?
It was the obvious answer, or so the obvious elephant in the room is, physical cash in the bank, right? But just as important in that is that the systems I've developed in place that is adopted from what you've taught me, that just keeps on going. That keeps on going. And so that's always as new clients being generated and new sales, and that just, it's like a tap, right? It just keeps going. But I think the secondly and the most, or just as important, is that it's kind of really framed my mind and turned around in the sense of just realizing how valuable my time is, how much time I was wasting, and just the importance of automating and systemizing my processes, not just in the marketing and sales component, but literally everything, right? If I can automate my time by 2-3 seconds, and it doesn't matter what it is, if I can get that time back, and that enables me to, focus on what I do best, which is, following up those leads and then converting those sales and really using my personality to make their sales into 10 times down to my strengths. The more time I can get back to work on the business, it's going to grow a lot faster than I'm in the trenches and getting stuck and bogged down in stuff that just, a robot or a system can do in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about strengths, kind of leads into my next question, and something I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from, your insights especially, is a lot of people really struggle with, feeling like they're not going to be able to stand out from obviously there's a lot of crap on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people just spamming the hell out of people. How do you feel that you stood out from the crowd?
Yeah. There's this common element. I think we both know this. There's a common element, and especially with new starters starting a business, is that there is this element of fear out there. They're scared to get on camera. They're scared of what they look like. They're scared of what they sound like. They're scared of offending people. They're scared of attracting the wrong image or whatever. This IT company is the third IT company I ran, or the third company I ran. The first one failed. And there was a lot of, growing from that, a lot of challenges from that. And I think what I've learned is that you can't market yourself too much. And if you don't get out there, if you don't present yourself, if you don't, back yourself and believe what you're saying and believe that, your product or service is the best there is out there. If you don't have that conviction in yourself, then why on earth is someone else going to buy your product? So for me personally, is how I'm different, right? Is that on LinkedIn, and I'll be honest, I've fallen off the bandwagon a little bit now, but because it's so busy. But how I stood out, I've got all these uniforms of like, I do a lot of LinkedIn videos. I'm looking now. I've got a doctor's outfit. I've got a Yoshi's and a Mario outfit. I've got a prison outfit. I've got a Where's Wally outfit. I've got a priest outfit. I've just got all these like random dumb stuff, right? But these videos that are kind of in line with my personality of like, I get on LinkedIn, do a video, like 1 minute video, wearing a prison costume, because my prices are a steal, and they're like these classic dad puns and jokes, but it makes them laugh, and I believe that if you can make a person laugh, make them smile, the scientific backing behind it increases that level of trust. And so my point of difference is that people go on LinkedIn and go, oh, that's the IT guy. He's different. He's funny. He's quirky. And hopefully that's the guy I want to work with. And clients want to gravitate towards as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one thing I really liked about the work you were doing and how I think that really helped you stood out was you weren't afraid to have a bit of character, especially as an IT company. So I think in your headline, you had Mario Kart enthusiast. So a really great message to anyone watching this is, you know, it's B2B, but it's not boring. Like the B doesn't stand for boring. Have some fun with it. Be a real person. People like doing business with people they like. So, so yeah. And another really good point is video. Such a great way to build trust. I know a lot of people are scared to get out there and put themselves on video, but easiest way to build trust. There's a comparison of marketing on Facebook to YouTube. There's 6 times less people on YouTube because people are afraid to do video. So 6 times less competition when you do video. So just think of that. Create a video, it's quicker and there's less competition. It's kind of a win-win.
It's kind of funny as well. When I started doing videos, and I'm not a graphic designer, like I failed art in high school. So, asked me to design videos and do that. At the start, I was like, man, this is like a huge investment of time. I'm going to do the video and I'm going to edit it. And in the early days, I was like editing the video 10, 20 times and the actual shots and the video itself. And then editing the video and making sure it looked good. And I swear to God, in the early days, in the first month or 2 or 3, creating 2 videos, 2 3-minute videos took like half a day or a full day. And then what happens is something kind of magical, right? You get better at it. And then you just learn to go, you know what, if it's 80% good, it's done. And then you get really quick because you're kind of doing the same template, the same format. And then all of a sudden you're pumping out 10, 12 videos that last you for 3 months in the space of half a day or a quarter of a day. And it becomes easy. So it's like any skill becomes easier. And this is coming from someone who I thought, this is going to be really tough to do it because it's not my forte, video thing, but it's really easy. There's a lot of software out there that makes it even easier as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. So can't recommend it enough. And Matt, great example of someone who's used videos quite effectively. If you're happy to share, what would you say has been your most effective tactic for lead generation on LinkedIn? So one more thing I'll add as well. So Matt runs, for some people, they have a very national or international reach in terms of audience. So Matt runs more of a localized because he's an IT company. He has a lot of face-to-face customers. What would you just say has been your most effective tactic? Only if you're happy to share.
Give me 1 second. My new staff member, very exciting as well. My new staff member who've had a month. He's sitting in the corner, tentatively just wondering if he can be in the background. You can sit down, Brandon. In fact, have a quick hello to my new staff, month ago, new guy.
Brandon. Hey, welcome to the interview.
you may sit down and work, my friends. Oh, wait, working? That wasn't right. And sorry, good sir. The question of my most effective marketing on LinkedIn, the strategy. Well, it was designed from your process. So really, hunting a list. So who's my target market in Brisbane? Or who's my target market? Well, I want to target professional services in Brisbane, from white collar workers, people who work in skyscrapers in the CBD, and accountants and lawyers and people who have a real requirement for IT. And if their systems go down, if the clients who are the best, who can work out per minute how much that costs them from a labor perspective and systems, they're fantastic because they see the importance of it. The most effective strategy I had was hunting names across LinkedIn, using Sales Navigator and LinkedIn to generate a list, and then through the help of your systems, getting a team to I design the messages and throw those messages to that audience that I'm trying to target, and then follow up those conversations and then. I've always found with me, being my strength is communication, is that if they had a need or they weren't sure or on the fence, it was just so easy on LinkedIn because when I message them, establish that contact, there's always a contact number, there's always a company name I can follow it up. And it was great because I found that as soon as they had a need or a requirement, or they may have had a requirement in the future, bringing my voice and bringing my personality into the mix, I always found it was in my strong suit there. But really targeting my audience and not just doing this net spread of anyone, but really going, I want directors who are in the commercial lawyer space who are in Brisbane or a radius of 20 kilometers. These are the people I want to target, because the messages I sent out enabled me to go, hey, I know what systems you use. I know your pains, and I know exactly who you are. And when you get that filtered in your approach, people go, oh, hey, he's talking to me, and not he's talking to just a generic template that people send out. That was effective. That was, is still really effective for me and Lance IT.
Awesome. Awesome. And what have been your results since starting this process over a year ago? So we started together before there was even an official program. So you've been doing this for a while. You've stuck through the cycles, and you understand the long-term game of this. What have been some of your results?
Yeah, look, it wasn't for Lance IT. It wasn't even like a 3 to 6 month process where it took to get off. It was literally the first month. I targeted accountants, and it was just like literally the first month that things were coming back. And then there's at least like 2 to 3 new clients in the first like month, or maximum 2 months of doing it. And then once I got more familiar with the system and more settled into it, and then it just sort of took off. And I reckon after, and this is coming from like no traction. So this is coming from like, I didn't even know these guys from a bar of soap, right? And on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden having these conversations, and then just getting better at the process, and getting better at being able to, the sell and the process and the communication. And after about 6 months where I was settled into the new systems, and then it got to a point where there was about 6 to 7 new clients, I reckon, per month. And some of those were short-term clients where they had an immediate need for IT. And some of those clients were of a longer-term solution where they're still my clients today. And we work together. And it just, and it really took off. And the funny thing is as well, right? Because even in pre-COVID, you'll see I've got this cast on, had shoulder surgery. And this was 6 weeks ago. So I turned the tap off, right? I turned the LinkedIn marketing off. And I said, right, for 6 weeks, I just want to do I want to click coast and not do as much. But the fortunate thing now is that the business has gained enough momentum and clients where there's just so many in-house referrals from different places and different companies. So I turned the marketing off, but I'm still like super busy, right? So as much as I complain about it, it's a good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. That's great to hear, especially at a time like this. Awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Like, in the early days, it's no stretch to say that 70% of my new clients came from LinkedIn. And, I'm a heavy networker. I'm a director of a local B2B chapter, and, heavy network and getting out there. But most of the bread and butter, at least 70% of the new clients were all LinkedIn. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Final question is, what would you tell anyone who's thinking about working with us?
I mean, just do it. Just do it. And especially when starting a business, and I'll be honest, I've been burnt before. Hey, when I first started the first company, green, naive, didn't know what was going on, and I engaged a marketer, and I engaged a person who said, yeah, I can get you sales. And I spent about 10 grand in total on both people. They were different companies. And I got burnt because they couldn't deliver what they promised. And it's tough because when you've been jaded like that, it's really, really tough to find who can not only talk the talk, but walk the walk in quite a competitive market, and who can deliver results. The people I want to say to, if they're on the fence and they thought, should I join up or not, then because I think you've got this like 30-day money back guarantee, right? I think you've got that. So that's awesome, because when I went to this other they didn't have that. So you've got 30 days, and I'd say, look, take the 30 days. And if you're not happy, 100%, you go back and you write and say, hey, I didn't get my results. I want my money back. You have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. And I think via watching testimonials like this, like you're doing now, you can see my natural element. You can see my staff member behind me. There's nothing fake about this. I'm not reading from a script. And it's really important, I think, to look a person in the eyes, and are they telling the truth? And you can get the feeling of watching these videos and these testimonials. But I'm a big believer. Hey, Ryan. So if those people right now are watching this, with this crazy man with his arm sling, and he's like sounding like Godfather. Do yourself an favor, just do it. 30-day money back guarantee. You cannot lose.
Awesome.
Yes,
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for those excessively kind words. And yeah, and thanks so much for your time today. Very much appreciated. As all business owners know, time is very valuable, especially when you're sick as well. So thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate it.
No problem. So to get paid my commission now or later? Is that down the track? I can't remember which one it was.
This interview is over.
Anyway,
thanks so much, Matt. Have an amazing day.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate your time.
Cheers. Bye.